Wow, okay. So, I'm back with another James Bond video. Nearly a year since, I think it was a year. Yeah, about a year since my last video. You know, been busy with the pandemic, not recorded much. I don't know what my last videos were, but probably weren't great. But anyway, I'm back with a new James Bond video. If anyone's still subscribing or watches these, I guess. But, you know, it's a No Time to Die review. Right, okay. So I saw No Time to Die on the release date in the UK on the 30th of September. Saw it open night. Gotta say, traumatizing. Saw it again the following Sunday, so a week ago when this was recorded. After it was recording this a week ago. A week after I saw it a second time. But anyway, we are back with a spoiler review. So I've never actually done a movie review on a James Bond movie before. You know, got a fair few James Bond videos. Look at my recent videos, it's what I mostly specialise in. But anyway, let's do this because I've not done a review before, don't know how it's gonna go. But anyway, the opening scene. You know, the gun barrel, let's talk about the gun barrel. I like this gun barrel. You know, you open it up, it's different. You know, someone said it might be the same, but it's not. And the way it opens up and it opens up into the snow and the white gun barrels gives me, I want to say, the old game vibes. Maybe Tomorrow Never Dies vibes. Watched that last night. Yeah, is it? I don't really know. I can't remember. I was half asleep actually now I think about it. But anyway, the opening scene with Madeline as a child. That was, yeah, when I was watching it I was thinking, oh shit. This is, you know, you see the scene with her, the gun in the cupboard, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is Madeline, the kid, she's gonna shoot him. And you see Safin, I think you see Safin first, I was like, oh my god, she shoots Safin. Safin was the guy that, she killed, but you don't actually, she doesn't actually kill him. I'm not actually quite sure how he survived that, like. I read a theory that it was referenced Dr. No by having his heart on the other side. It's been a while since I've seen Dr. No read the book, so I can't remember if that was an actual thing, but I think it was in the book. So it might be a reference in Dr. No, how he survived, because it seemed like he just got knocked out and just woke up. But it was a good opening scene, you know. We get introduced to the villain, he's literally one of the first things we see. You know, he's pretty brutal, but he looks about the same age as Rami Malek does now. Like, how old is he? Is he 18? He could be about, assuming the pictures look to be about 16, 18 there. Which would make him about 38, 40. I want to say he's early 40s by the end of the movie when he dies. And that's just a spoiler right there. But anyway, the opening scene, then we go to Italy. You know. Actually, I thought the scene where he saves her, that was quite good. You know. Quite, sort of, I want to say, reference, foreshadowing later on in the movie with the scene with his daughter. But anyway, this is probably the worst review that anyone's ever listened to. I've never done one before. I should bring this down. I want to try and shit up the entire time. But hey ho, that's just my videos together. But anyway, gonna go to Italy. You know, it looks a nice place in Italy to go to. Looks interesting. Ooh, you know, I think the shit, I'm just trying to read it here. Yeah, they go to the grave, you know. I thought, honestly, I was watching it, I think Lind was spelled wrong, that annoyed me. I think it's spelled the name. Wait, was it? I need to find out, I'm gonna look that up now. Wait a minute. Let's see now. Because it was spelled without an E, and I thought it was spelled with an E. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, wow. Mad. Wait, did it in the book? Wait, where is it? Oh no, it's not. I was supposed to start with an E. Well, I never. Did not know that. Mad. Yeah, they go to City and, oh my god, that scene shut me up in the movie. Fucking hell. When he blows up the grave. That's a good scene, and then, I was expecting the body to come out and he chases after him, you know. You watch a trailer and think, wait a minute, literally all these scenes are from the opening scene and we literally know nothing about the rest of the movie. It's quite interesting, quite good actually. And he gets chased. I like the chase, you know, that was a good chase with Aston Martin D5. It's good to see DB5 back, using its full capacity weapons, guns, smoke screen, all that stuff. You know, I don't think they used smoke screen on the nails in Skyfall. But anyway, it was nice to see it back after a while. I say a while, it was Inspector, but you know, 6 years. Hey ho. It was a good scene, and actually, when I started the second time, there was someone speaking through the entire scene, like through the entire opening scene, and then they got to the song completely silent, left right of the song. Wasn't that happy? Good thing I saw it on the first viewing, and everyone was literally quiet. But yeah, I thought it was the opening scene. Compared to the other movies, you know, I like Casino Royale, where he's in Czech Republic and Pakistan. Quantum of Solace, where he's in Senegal. I don't know. I mean, that was alright. I guess it was action-packed to say. It was grabbed your attention straight away. And then compare it with Sky. I don't really like Skyfall's opening scene that much. Then it's just me. It's just Inspector's just one of the best. So it's probably the third best, I'd say, behind Casino Royale and Inspector. Probably one of the few decent things Inspector has going for it. But the gun barrel's definitely up there. It's probably his second best gun barrel. I might do a ranking on the gun barrels actually. I don't think I've done one. I might do a gun barrel video actually. I'm going to do a references video, I reckon, depending on how this one does. But anyway, the title sequence. Oh my god, I love Billie Eilish. She is one of my favourite artists. I was actually hyped. And then you sat there in the cinema and you're just watching it like, oh my god, I'm listening to this live, I'm seeing it live, it's Billie Eilish. Oh, I like the open title sequences, but I wish I referenced the other villains like Raoul Silver and Dominic Green and the Chief Ray and all them in the open titles. That would be interesting rather than just Blofeld and Vesper. I personally would have liked that, but you know. Also, that scene on the train, that was pretty brutal. We need more train scenes in James Bond. I like the one in Spectre and Casino Royale, but we need more. Actually, then you can't the one in Skyfall as well. Anyway, 5 years later, after Italy, you know, we have the scene in the lab. I actually like David. How do you pronounce it? David Destiny? I'll find out. I really should research it, shouldn't I? That's what I'm going to do next time I ever do another one. Who knows? How do you pronounce it? David Denzik. Anyway, he's playing Oberov. Oberov's probably one of the best. Oberchev. Valdo Oberchev. Yes. He's actually probably one of my favourite characters in the movie. He was funny, you know. I thought he was a good villain. I don't think he was meant to come across villainy, but it's just him himself doesn't believe he's a villain, but he turns into a villain. Just wants the best, I guess. But from Danny Boyle's original movie, they were supposed to cast a Russian scientist. So I feel like that's the main villain. So I feel like Oberchev was supposed to be the main villain in Danny Boyle's version, whatever that was supposed to be. Hopefully find something about that. Might do a video on it one day. That would be good. Maybe in a few years more information comes out, but I'd love to see more about that movie, that version of No Time to Die, if it was called No Time to Die. But anyway, yeah, the lab scene, you know, Oberchev's pretty funny. You get the dad from Outnumbered, and he turned up, and they took him. I was like, basically the scientist who's gonna get taken away, and then they just fucking shoot him. I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes. That was disappointing. But, you know, it was a bit like COVID, this virus, you know. They said it said smallpox at the beginning of the movie. But they're like, oh, it's more like nanobots. Like everything or nothing in the game, which might do a video on that as well. I need to do more videos. I've not had a lot of free time. You think I've had more free time in the pandemic, but I've been working all the way through, except the first lockdown. But then the time today got delayed. I should have done a video. Anyway, yeah, I'm guessing they changed it from smallpox to nanobots. I'm not really 100% sure. Might have missed it. And you know, I'm back at GoldenEye. You know, in Clement's house. You know, could do a video on that. I should write this down. I might listen to it back and write it down. I think all the songs I should do videos on. Not songs. Moments to do a video on that I've talked about. Anyway, we go to Jamaica and sort out my favourite CIA agent, Felix Leiter. I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but it was nice to see him back after 13 years. He's back after Quantum of Solace. And he's literally my favourite characters. He's my favourite Felix Leiter. Second is Jack Lord. Third is David Hedison. And it's good to see him back. And I felt like he did a lot more in this movie compared to the other two. Because you look at Casino Royale, he's just sort of sat there. And he does help out. He helps Bond win the game. He does a fair bit more Quantum Solace. He's supposed to have a bigger role in Quantum Solace. I hope we find out what that is one day. But, he's supposed to have a bigger role. He did a fair bit in Quantum Solace. I liked him in Quantum Solace more than I did in Casino Royale, if I'm honest with you. I absolutely loved in this movie. You see a lot more of his backstory. You know, he talks about his family and smoking, and he's just having a laugh. You know, he feels a lot more as his friend than he does in previous movies. He felt like his friend a lot in Quantum of Solace when Casino only just met him. Felt like his friend in License to Kill. In Living Daylights, he just sat there behind a fucking CCTV camera the entire movie. Nah, I actually cannot stand John Terry's version. But Norman Burton's version was fairly bad. You know, what even was that Norman? Wait a minute, I'm gonna find a picture to laugh. Wait a minute. Burton. Phoenix Light. Jesus Christ. Why did they... Oh my god, why did they get him as Felix Leiter? I will never know. That's just... He's way too old. I'm gonna look at that picture of Sean Connery. It looks fair. I'm gonna have to go through this and listen to this later, and it's gonna be like he's fairly old in this. Christ. Yeah, he was way too old to be Felix Leiter. But then again, Secklinder. He was too old. What were they thinking of him? Oh, wait a minute, there's a picture of Felix Leiter's there. Yeah, Rick Van Nutter was good. I'm glad they brought him back though. Jeffrey Light Felix Leiter is literally one of my favourite characters. I hope he gets a spin-off one day. I would actually love if he got a spin-off. But it's unlikely. But anyway, on to the next bit. Then we meet Nomi. Wait, do we meet Nomi? Yeah, we meet Nomi at this point. You know, I'll go into Nomi more later on, but she's probably my favourite character in the entire movie. When I heard she was going to be 007, I was thinking, oh, this could be interesting, you know. 007 is just a code number, as she mentions a lot. And we could potentially see a decent, another spy, another MI6 spy. I don't think we've actually seen any more MI6 spies in any of Daniel Craig's movies. Unless you count Moneypenny in Skyfall. Was she a 00? I'm going to find out, I'm intrigued now. Was she a 00? But yeah, you get to meet Naomi, and then she's a good character. I feel like the reference level died a little bit there. I could actually do a video on the references. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. I'm only... Christ, I've been trying to shit for 13 minutes, so nowhere near anywhere in. But anyway, we found out M commissioned it. He goes into that more later on. I thought, you know, it just makes Britain look bad, if I'm honest with you. Anyway. And then he goes to Felix. Oh, I love Jeffrey Wright's Felix Leiter. He's literally just the best Felix Leiter there is. He's so wholesome. The fact he talks like his family and. Anyway, we meet Paloma. She's generally wholesome, and she's played by Ana de Armas. And she's seeing on the screen thinking, oh, I hope she doesn't die. I'm glad she doesn't die. I was seeing on the screen like, all this 3 weeks training. She's generally wholesome. I feel like I'm talking a bit too fast at the moment. Apologies. Anyway, she meets Paloma. She's generally wholesome and probably one of the best characters. You know, the two women spies, Paloma and Naomi. Probably two of the best characters. Phoebe Waller-Bridge's impact on the script. If you have seen Fleabag, I have not personally, but I've read a lot about it. Apparently, it's very, very good. Might give it a watch because these two are my favourite characters in the movie. Much prefer them to the Madeline Swan. She didn't. She got better towards the end, in my opinion. She was better after the 5 years. You compare her, like then the Spectre and Inspector, compare her to No Time to Die. Compare the two final acts. She is a lot more better. Anyway, I like the scene in where he switches the nanobots, the DNA. That was such a cool scene. You see it in the trailer and you watch it in the movie. I actually loved it. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning, All Time in the World music. I've just remembered this now, actually, halfway through. I don't know what I was supposed to mention. I was thinking of the score. The score by Hans Zimmer in this movie is just amazing. References on a Magic Secret Service, all the other movies, just amazing. Hey, All the Time in the World music at the beginning, that was just... Oh, I'm going to put that up on YouTube in a bit, actually. I believe there's a good YouTuber called TunaTube does a fair few on a Magic Secret Service videos, if you ever want to watch them. But anyway, yeah, this But yeah, Spectre meeting. That was a good scene. That was one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie up to this point. And it's just really cool, just Blofeld controlling it and all them getting gassed. I liked it. It was a good scene. It was my favorite scenes. And then you got the where he takes him out and she just knocks him out, kicks him in his head and fight. I just seen them fighting all them. It was just one really good scene, quality scene, quality scene. And then what happened after that? Oh yeah, they killed one suspect. Then they grab the scientist and Naomi shows up and then she kidnaps them. That's a good scene. And the way she crashes in the car into it and she survives, she just seems so happy to be there. Honest to God, I would be as well. And then she leaves and it's like, oh, Anna de Armas, is that all the movie she's in? She was literally barely in it. She was in it for what, screen time? I'm going to find out on screen time because that was no way more than 10 minutes. 5 minutes at most, but it was a good scene and Naomi was a pretty good, I won't say badass in this scene. I've never used the word badass in years. But, you know, it was a badass scene. And she escapes and she's just running and then anyway, on to the next bit. I thought the plane scene was good. No, I don't really count as a plane scene. It just comes across as funny, Obruchev. You know, I don't know. We kind of got he was like a rogue MI6 payroll scientist who doesn't get the respect he deserves. And he was the actual villain. I feel like he would have been a lot better villain than Rami Malek. In my opinion, Rami Malek wasn't a great villain. I felt partially bored by his performance. You know, I won't say bored. He was entertaining towards the end, but he didn't really do a lot. You know, he had this figured face, but I don't really know what to say. Like, he just didn't have much motivation. His motivation was like, oh, your dad killed my dad. And then he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you now, and then like kill everyone. New smallpox, nanobots. He wasn't a great villain. If I had to rank him, I want to say he's the worst, but I don't know. I've decided at the end of the video now, when I've talked about it a lot more. But anyway, I thought the interrogation scene with Obruchev, Bond and Felix interrogating Obruchev was a very good scene. And Ash trying to get involved and stop him. But he crashes out Ash. That was just such a good scene. I don't know why, just the realization on his face. When I actually saw the posters, I was reading the little descriptions thinking, Logan Ash, CIA operative, I think it was. And I was like, Palamas? It's Palama. I don't want to say Palamas. I'll speak about it. Yeah, Palama. I thought, oh, look at this, it's going to be CIA agent team up. But, you know, it would have been good to see all three CIA agents working together against Spectre. But I feel like Logan Ash's betrayal would have had more of an impact if, you know, he took Palama's role instead in Cuba. It would have had a lot more impact on a betrayal. She just met Logan Ash, she's just smiling a lot. So I'm not really sure, but you know, I felt like it would have been a lot more impacting, a lot more an impact on his betrayal, because when you see it, but then he shoots fucking Felix. I was there like, oh, I just saw Felix's face when he falls on the stairs, and like, don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare kill Felix Leiter. And he's bleeding out, and then he's like, he's got a lot, and he falls down, Bond falls on the stairs into the water, and falls downstairs, and Bond goes down after him. And he's like, that's a lot of blood. I'm like, no, please don't fucking kill him. And then he blows up the boat as he leaves, and then starts sinking. And then he actually dies the same way as Vesper drifts away. He bleeds out. It's just really sad, because he never got to tell his family, never got that cigar. Well, I won't talk about it yet, but I want to say it's probably the most heartbreaking deaths in the movie, because he's literally my favourite character, and we see him die, you know, License to Kill was fairly heartbreaking when he loses his arm and leg, but then you see him die and talking about his family, and it's just really sad, you know. I feel like they didn't need to kill him off, you know, he could have survived, but then it does a good it sets up for a good scene later on in the forest. But yeah, I felt like it was more shock factor that terrible to talk about it. It was really sad. But then this scene where next scene is where he talks to M about him. You know, it's quite a sad scene where he tells him he's dead. I felt that was really impacting, and M talks about him like. I'd be intrigued to see one of their meetings with. Would they have met? Actually, I'm guessing they might have met between Skyfall and Spectre. Anyway, one of the scene. This is what I like about Craig's movies. In the past 3 movies, they're all like going off behind Tim's back to go help Bond. I hope they don't do that in more the next movies, because I'm not trying to sound like a boomer or anything here, or like an old school fan, like, oh, look, maybe the old ones better. I love the new movies a lot more than the old ones because I grew up with them. But yeah, I hope they don't go behind M's back constantly in the next movies, because that's just gonna be like, I don't really like it, because you know, you look at the movies like, okay, Q and Moneypenny did about once or twice in the older ones, but doing it every 3 movies in a row and just like, oh look, M won't help us, let's go behind his back for the 3rd time in 3 movies. It's just annoying. You know, I hope they don't bring it back to whoever gets, because I believe they're going to recast it next, which is sad because I feel like we don't have enough time with them. Because they're all a great cast, and I hope seeing them not going to come back. Unless we get a Nomi spin-off, which I do want. I would love that. You know, that'd be great. Next scene, Safin visits Madeline in London. I don't really get the scene, you know. It was an alright scene, I guess, but, you know, setting up for Blofeld's death. Blofeld's death, I don't really know. I mean, like, he died quietly. You compare it to all the deaths in Spectre, where they all died loudly and screaming. Maybe Blofeld knew he was going to die. Maybe he accepted his death. I'm not too sure. Maybe he died quickly, considering how close he was to how much she put on. I think it was an entire bottle of perfume, and how close he was to her. But anyway, Blofeld's death. I don't think Blofeld's death. Anyway, talk about thinking deaths, the villain death. So up to this point, I'll talk about Safin's later. But anyway, you know, you compare it to the Schiffer's death. He got shot by Mr. White. You know, not a great death. Okay, he got shot. Okay, Dominic Green, he dies off screen. Oh, that rhymes. Oh my god, I did not realise that. Dominic Green dies off screen. He gets shot in the head twice by Spectre, Quantum, whoever. Not a great death because he actually seen him die, but I actually like Dominic Green as a villain. You know, he was a good villain. Then we got Javier Bardem, who's probably a fairly exciting death. You know, he got stabbed in the back, he just turns around and he falls forward. That was an interesting death. I like that death. It was a good death. You know, in fact, he survived that long. I don't know much about stabbing, but it was a good death. But then we had Blofeld, we got poisoned. That was, I don't really know. I don't really like it as a death. I feel like he should have a more, not heroic, exciting death. You know, didn't go out loudly. You know, it wasn't great. Anyway, Madeline goes off to Norway, her childhood house. I actually thought this was the same house as Mr. White was hiding in Spectre, but it was actually Austria in Spectre and Norway in this one. When I was watching it, I was thinking, wait a minute, I hope they never go back to Norway again, because I didn't know it was Norway. I don't think I did. And then I was watching it, I was like, wait a minute, he went Austria in that one. I thought he went Norway in that one. But anyway, I only found out a few minutes it was Austria. But maybe I knew at the time, but it's been a while since it's been Spectre. Should I rewatched them all before No Time to Die. Anyway, he finds out the daughter, and she says it's not his. Don't know why, but it's obvious. You know, I knew that. And then we find out about the family's murder, and then we find out that Safin's on her way to get them. Also, I forgot to mention the scene where he brought back the V8 Vantage. Oh my god, I love the V8 Vantage. It is a top tier car. Where should I rank it? Second favourite, third favourite maybe? It's just a lovely car. And the fact in the scene he chooses a Land Rover over the V8 Vantage with all the weapons and guns and lasers, if it's got the same gadgets as one of the Living Daylights. It's a shame that they didn't bring it back. Well, I say bring it back, I mean like take it out. Like, maybe it wouldn't have as much an advantage, but it would have been a lot better than a Land Rover. It would have been a lot more interesting than, you know, I don't know if it would be counted as canon or what, but you know, it should have taken out of the Land Rover. Anyway, we go through the forest scene. What was Naomi doing during the forest? You know, I blame her for the end scene, the ending of this movie, her and M. Because where was she during the forest fight? You know, Bond was getting his ass whooped. And, you know, I thought it was a good scene. Also, Logan Ash's death. Logan Ash's death was, I felt like a remnant to, Ed, what was his name? Ed Khalifa, is it? Khalifa? Ed Khalifa. Is that Ed? Anyway, that Ed who he kills just seems like a remnant scene, like referencing it in License to Kill when he kills him with the sharks. It was such a good scene. I was like, help me out, brother, and I was like, oh, it's like, had a brother, his name was Six Lion. Oh, it's just such a good scene where he just crushes him. But when they get taken, I felt like Safin could have done a lot more in the helicopter. When I saw the helicopter approaching, I was hoping for something a lot like in Skyfall when Silver comes after them and plays the music and he's just shouting at the helicopter. That would have been such a good scene with Safin doing that. Not quite sure I didn't do that, but I would have personally enjoyed it. I don't know what Naomi was doing during that forest fight, but it's her fault they got taken. Anyway, so we go to the scene, and now I think about it, this movie's actually felt like quite sure. I was watching the second time last Sunday. I was thinking, oh, it's going quite fast. Also, I forgot to mention, I'm reading a point off Reddit here. It's a quick plot outline because the one on Wikipedia wasn't great, and I was trying to get everything in. But the scene with them on the bridge also has the same score as ski chasing on a Magic Secret Service. That it's one of my favourite scenes in the movie, other than Attack on Piz Gloria and maybe the ending scene. Them three are just great scenes. And Hans Zimmer's score in this movie is just amazing, a lot better than Thomas Newman. And I think he reused a fair bit of John Barry's score from the other movies. You know, I'm just a sucker for scores, but that's just me, I guess. Anyway, they go to the island in Japan. I felt like this scene where they go out in the little plane thing was like supposed to reference Dine of Day. I should definitely do a video on these references. But anyway, and then CGI plane. It says here CGI plane. Wait a minute. Yeah, anyway, they get spec. That was a good scene. You know, I've not seen Bond use silencers since I believe it was Casino Royale. But you know, we see a fair bit of him. But you know, anyway, I thought a lot of scenes with Obrachev and when they meet him in the lab. I'm trying to think of it, maybe reading it out. But okay, so he takes the scientist hostage. And then Bond goes after Safin. That was a good scene, you know. And he used to shoot him, shoots two guards and kills his men. That was such a good scene. That was probably my favourite scene in the movie. But I do feel like this reference to Dr. No a lot, because I could go on. I could do an entire video on that. I'm just gonna whip out these videos. But yeah, anyway. Safin, you know, escapes after the quick chat about wanting to kill millions. I was talking about the garden. The garden, this movie takes a lot from an Magic Secret Service and You Only Live Twice book. Because in the last scene I actually found out in my book the other day. Anyway, and Safin escapes, and that was a funny scene where he just runs away. Wholesome. And Bond and Madeline all reunited. Oh, it's a happy scene, you know. I thought, like, you know, Ryan Malek's villain, it just seems like he doesn't care who helps him or who sides with him. He just wants to get it all done. Oh, we've got 79 hours remaining. Anyway. Also, that scene where he gets racist, Obrachev gets racist to Naomi and she throws him off. That was a good scene where she just kills him and he starts shooting everyone's else. I'm like, oh my god. She is literally one of the best characters in this movie. Literally the best character in the movie. And then, or when they start to escape and they're all reunited, and she reunites with him, and then they all escape and on the boat. I started tearing up for this bit the second time because I was thinking, no way they're actually gonna do it. No way. And then Bond stays behind by himself, goes around, shoots everyone. Also got to mention, Cyclops was not a great henchman in this movie. I don't know about anyone else, but feels like with the Daniel Craig movies, they tried too hard to make these villains their own iconic villain henchmen. So you look at Karat in Casino Royale, bald guy, didn't do a lot, don't really want to make him iconic, more Le Chiffre, because he's iconic, book villain. And you got Elvis in Quantum of Solace. I liked his hair, okay, it was funny, I liked him. Then in Skyfall, didn't really have henchmen unless you count Patrice. Spectre tried Hinks, the silent big guy. Hinks wasn't great in my opinion, but it could have been a lot better. Christ, I've been talking for about half an hour. Just took a drink. Probably should have re-recorded this, but don't have much time these days. Yeah, now it's recording, okay. Now it's re-recording, I had to pause for a second. But anyway. Wait. And then missiles start coming in. Then he opens the scene. I thought it was quite a funny scene with Q and Bond, who tries to press all the buttons. We need more humour in this, but then also I thought the way it worked, I don't get how they went from nanobots to... I feel like originally it's supposed to have the poison garden create the virus or edit it or something like along those lines. That would have been more better, but I think they wanted it reminiscent of COVID. But Cary Fukunaga is just amazing. His cinematography and his direction is just pretty very good in this movie. I love it. But anyway, the bunch of many fights off is pretty good. I love it. But then, when he's trying to get back and the silos start to close and he runs, and he's just running across and Safin comes on nowhere and just shoots him. Also, yeah, shoots him, falls over, and I was like, oh my god, he shot him. Ah. But anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, anyway, I also don't understand seeing the buyers. What was that all about? The boats and the buyers were supposed to be selling off to someone. Not too sure about that. Be interesting to see where that would have gone. Maybe they cut something out, or I don't know. It wasn't really mentioned much or explained much. But that scene where they're fighting each other and he's bleeding out and he smashes the nanobots onto him, and he explains that's just heartbreaking. And then he overpowers him, and once he overpowers him, beats him up, and he just shoots him. That's such a good scene. He just shoots him in the head a few times. I just love that scene. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm fucked. But then, as I was saying about the deaths earlier, the deaths aren't really exciting during Craig's movies. You look at Pierce Brosnan's. He fell off a satellite, broke his back, and got crushed by the satellite. And then he got cut by a power drill. Then he had a plutonium rod stuck into his stomach, and then he had a what do you call that? He fell into a plane engine. All them scenes. And then you look at Timmy DeVoe and he gets crushed by a statue of Napoleon, I think it was. And then he gets set on fire, and then the deaths just aren't exciting. I get they're realistic, but they're just not exciting in Daniel Craig's movies. Except maybe Silvers, who gets stabbed in the back, but even then, it just wasn't exciting. But anyway, when Bond's in the silos and he asks Q to connect him to the... tearing up at the moment. Maybe I'm just dehydrated. He's tearing up. I'm tearing up. He was tearing up. We're all crying and vomiting in this movie. I was the second time. And then she tells it, and then he tells her about daughter. And then the missiles start to come in, and then missiles come in, and he just gets wiped out. It's ironic because he got killed by the Navy, which was part of. I kind of like that. It was a good for it callback. I want to say callback, but it was a fitting ending. Bond dying and killed by the Navy. I won't go into it, but I grew up Daniel Craig's James Bond. I was 6 when Casino Royale came out, 7 I started liking Bond, 8 when Quantum of Solace came out, 12 the first time I saw James Bond the cinema, which was Skyfall, And the fact that they ended it like this is not how I wanted it to end. I wanted it to be a lot better. And I wanted them to have a happy ending with Matilda and Madeline. That would have been a happy, better ending. And I get because they retired, Spectre's defeated, he can retire happily. He shouldn't have died. Because they had Naomi there to take over his place. He could have retired happily and it would have been a happy ending. But I feel like it'll stop the questions getting asked ever again. Will you come back to Daniel Craig? But he's not going to because he's dead, so he's not going to get asked ever again. But it was such a sad ending. I left the movie feeling disappointed. I could talk about this movie for hours. But I've been going for nearly 40 minutes. He dies, and then I like the scene at the end. Fun fact, I don't know if it's really a fun fact, but the scene at the end where he reads a poem. I'm just tearing up at the moment. There is actually in the Untitled Twice book in one of the last chapters when Bond fakes his death. I actually found out the other day. I need to reread the book, not read it in a long time. But it takes a lot of elements from the book, It's pretty much the Only Majesty's Secret Service movie combined with the Untitled Twice book. It's quite an interesting take, I thought it was quite good, anyway. Then, the ending scene with the Advantage is back, and, she wants to tell him about him, and then the music starts playing with All the Time in the World. Oh my god, and the zoom out shot of it going through the tunnel, and then it's like... It's just heartbreaking, because I've seen it twice. I was literally crying my eyes out the second time, but I left the movie feeling disappointed the first time. And the second time, I watched it and I felt... I wasn't quite sure, I was just upset because... I don't really know how to describe it because it was such a good... It should have ended better. I felt very traumatized from it for a few days and I still kind of am talking about it again. But maybe I'll watch it next time and it won't be as bad. But anyway, my final thoughts on this movie before I go, because we've gone for nearly 40 minutes. This is probably going to be my longest James Bond video ever. If anyone actually makes it all the way through, I'm going to be this far in, I'm going to be impressed. But, yeah, it was a good ending to Daniel Craig's movies. The music, the score, locations went... I I like the forest. The forest scenes were cool. That was filmed in Scotland, but I remember seeing pictures and filming it, and that was one of my good scenes. I like the locations in this movie. Also, Tanner. Tanner didn't really do a lot in this movie. I didn't mention Tanner. I mentioned all the other characters, but Tanner didn't really do a lot. He met with Bond on the bridge, and then he met him at the prison. I spoke to him a little bit, and then he met him in the office, and then he was at the end scene. He didn't really do a lot in this movie, I felt like he was underused. You compare him to Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. Did he do anything much in Spectre? Yeah, he did a bit in Spectre. He did a fair bit in Spectre, actually. You compare him to, like, the other 3 movies he's been in. 4, 3? Yeah, the other 3 movies he's been in. He didn't really do a lot in this movie. I was disappointed. I was hoping he would have done more. But anyway, Hans Zimmer's score, Cary Fukunaga's directing, cinematography. It was, some of the characters... Rami Malek was a piss poor villain in my opinion. He didn't really... He had Scar and going to look at me as a villain, not going to that whole debate. But, yeah, he should have... He didn't really do a lot. I don't know, he wasn't a great villain. He wasn't as good as he could have been. He could have been a lot better. A few people said the same, he wasn't a great villain. He was a good actor. He's a good actor in the movie, I like him, but he wasn't a good villain. He was a good character, but not a good villain. There's a difference. Also, Naomi and Palmer are 2 of the best patients. Logan Ash and Oberchev are very good side villains. Cyclops, I like Cyclops, but you try too hard to be iconic, but... Hey, that was a good pun, pardon the pun. But yeah, he was a good villain, and I could literally go on for another 20 minutes I wanted to, but I don't want to. But yeah, final thoughts on this movie. I'm gonna give it 8.7 out of 10. It's probably my favourite movie overall behind Casino Royale and Skyfall. Might have to rewatch them too. Might rewatch them all in order. Maybe my opinion might change, maybe it might not. Might rewatch them all in order. Who knows? But yeah, definitely. I would love to. But we need a Naomi spin-off as soon as possible. Naomi and Palmer, a spin-off, recreating their friendship between Bond's and Leiter's friendship. that would be a good movie. You know, if you had like an origin story, how she came to 00, that would be exciting. I would love to see that. But yeah, we did a movie. Solid movie. 8.7 out of 10. Can't wait for the reboots. If you made it this far, I'm very, very proud of you, and thank you for watching.